Are we recording? I hope so. This weekend I fell off the wagon and I watched Spectre again. And I was watching this all the way through and I was like, oh god, well, here we go again. And then it got to the sort of the dark bit, the bit where Bond is in the clutches of the big bad. And this is where the film becomes the author of all my pain, because they try and take a kind of trendy neuroscience approach to dicking over Bond instead of just pulling his fingers off or something like they would normally do. Bond is in this chair, strapped in, and Blofeld says, right, ahaha, I'm gonna diddle around with your brain now because, you know, we've not done that before on film. First, I'm gonna mess around with your balance. Now, to do that, that involves going into the cerebellum, is where a lot of the coordination is, and also the vestibular region, which is sort of right here, right? So your ears do a lot of your balance. All right. Let's begin. So he drills into the side of his ear, and I will take that. That is a reasonable stab at identifying a real region of the brain and really trying to fuck with it in a kind of crazy dentist chair. So a climactic bit of this whole sort of terrifying supposed to be scene is that Bond is going to have his recognition powers removed. Well, they're going to drill into his head and scoop out the bit which does recognising people. The way they're going to do it is they're going to remove the fusiform gyrus. And the fusiform gyrus is very interesting because fusiform gyrus somewhere around here is at the end of your visual system, and it's probably the most complex visual processing bit of your brain. And what it does is it processes faces, right? Face, very, very complex thing, lots of different bits all working in synchrony but also slightly differently. Bond's going to get his fusiform gyrus removed. That's all well and good, fine, well done Blofeld. A nice creative thing to do to hurt Bond at this crucial moment in the story. They then aim the drill back in the same place as they aimed the first drill, just on the other side of his head. And that's not really how the brain works, unless you're going to go in there and then sort of up. Now either Blofeld's just made a massive cock up and he won't admit it, or he's playing a long game.
I don't think you quite understand.
Oh, I think I do.
Where he's actually aiming for, roughly like there, now that is the medulla oblongata, near the cerebellum. Medulla oblongata, basically just sort of elongated bit of the spinal column, which has got lots of nuclei in it, right? And nuclei are just places where sort of neurons congregate. They're kind of not very organised, they're just balls of cells. And the medulla oblongata tends to have really important functions, but that are really easy to do, you know, like keeping your heart beating, right? Very important, quite simple. Now, the two key nuclei which I think he must have been targeting, which makes sense both from a storyline perspective and from Blofeld's perspective and a neurological perspective, is the sneezing nucleus and the vomiting nucleus. I think Blofeld has decided that he's going to make Bond think that he's fucked it up, right? So that's what he's doing. He's saying, oh yeah, oh, I tried to break your face, recognising, but oh, it didn't work, oh, everything's going to hell. I can see further down the line what Blofeld is actually trying to get out of this is a very slow, very deliberate form of torture. Now, just imagine this, Bond walking down the street, he's wearing one of those kind of beautiful suits with a really nice greatcoat, the light's coming from just behind him, a henchman walks in the distance. Bond approaches him over the cobbled streets. Maybe we're in, I don't know, Prague, or I don't know, something a bit more exotic, but with cobbles, like somewhere in Slovenia. Bond crosses the street, approaches the man from behind, the music rises and he vomits everywhere, right? That is gonna really set him back. And you know, sooner or later, after that's happened, every now and then, you know, he's vomited on M's desk, he's vomited inside one of his many luxury cars. He starts to lose a bit of prowess in MI5, he doesn't get all the plum jobs. He becomes more of an alcoholic, his life falls into ruin, and he eventually dies alone, and unloved, and unknown, and not a hero. And at this point, you have to wonder, surely that's Blofeld's victory, right? That is a kind of long game, which I would expect from a man like that.
Poor little blue-eyed orphan.
I mean, admittedly it could be done with sneezing, but it's a little less kind of vicious. But you know, still, when you're trying to tail someone down a darkened alley and you're just going... Now, there is one other possibility. Blofeld, he's not a neuroscientist, he's not got that training. What's probably happened there is he's got the fusiform area, fusiform gyrus, mixed up with the facial colliculus. The facial colliculus is in the medulla. The facial colliculus doesn't do facial recognition. What the facial colliculus actually does is it provides nervous input, as in it provides the kind of nerve control of your face. So destroying it would essentially just paralyze half your face. And then the joke would actually be on Blofeld, wouldn't it? Because as we all know, Daniel Craig's face is pretty much entirely motionless throughout the entire film and all films before that. So yeah, something to think about. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next week. Bye bye.